The world's most dangerous financial trap doesn't look like an emergency, it looks like a regular budget. Right now, billions of people live in developing nations caught in a slow-burning structural loop where servicing old loans consumes more money than health, education, or infrastructure combined. This is the sovereign debt trap, and it is quietly rewriting the rules of global economic development. To understand the mechanics of this trap, we have to look past the dramatic headlines of sudden defaults and examine the quiet erosion of fiscal space. Sovereign borrowing itself is a foundational economic tool. When managed responsibly, it allows governments to smooth out economic shocks, build public assets, and invest in long-term prosperity. However, a debt trap occurs when borrowing shifts from a strategic investment into a mechanism of bare survival. Following years of global economic turbulence, tighter central bank monetary policies, and surging borrowing costs across international capital markets, debt service obligations have ballooned. Governments find themselves trapped taking on expensive new debt or eating into scarce foreign exchange, reserved simply to pay the interest on past liabilities, creating an unyielding cycle of fiscal depletion. Compounding this is a flawed international credit rating ecosystem. Major credit rating agencies frequently rely on outdated, narrow methodologies that overstate risk for emerging markets. This penalizes developing nations with artificially inflated borrowing premiums, locking them into an expensive tier of global finance, even when their long-term economic fundamentals hold genuine potential. The true damage of this trap isn't just statistical, it is deeply human and structural. It triggers what economists call the crowding out effect. When a staggering portion of national revenue is automatically funneled away to international creditors, bondholders, and commercial lenders, domestic budgets are hollowed out. Vital capital that should fund digital infrastructure, upgrade power grids, or expand public education systems is diverted to debt servicing. Without those foundational investments, long-term economic growth stalls. Because growth stagnates, the country's debt-to-GDP ratio deteriorates further, driving credit ratings down and making future borrowing even costlier. It is a self-reinforcing penalty box. Countries cannot grow their way out of debt because the debt burden itself prevents them from making the productivity-enhancing investments required to grow. As international financial institutions note, many governments are being forced into a quiet default, not necessarily on their formal bond repayments, but on their long-term development ambitions and the Sustainable Development Goals. This crisis is further aggravated by a deeply fragmented global financial architecture. Unlike domestic corporate bankruptcies, there is no comprehensive international bankruptcy court for sovereign states. Restructuring debt requires navigating an intricate maze of private bondholders, commercial creditors, and diverse official lenders, resulting in prolonged negotiations and deep uncertainty. Proposals for reform, ranging from UN-led debt relief mechanisms and borrower platforms to regional initiatives like the African Credit Rating Agency, aim to inject transparency and restructure unsustainable liabilities. Yet true resolution requires moving past temporary liquidity band-aids. Systems must evolve to provide predictable debt relief, transparent lending, and forward-looking risk assessments that view developing economies through the lens of opportunity rather than perpetual vulnerability. The sovereign debt trap demonstrates that financial stability is the absolute bedrock of national sovereignty. Without fiscal breathing room, sustainable development remains entirely out of reach. To explore more deep-dive analyses on how global economic structures shape our future, visit paucasitablog.com for all your latest global news and articles. Stay informed, stay ahead.